Hey guys, welcome to Launch Your Live, both the live stream on Amazon Live as well as the podcast episode. So, on this episode, you're going to learn about different background and backdrop ideas that you can use to enhance your live streams and help them look much more professional. So, for somebody who happens to have a messy office, maybe you're working with blank walls. On this episode, myself, Christian Karasevich, and Marco Novo, we're going to discuss ideas to help you when designing a backdrop or a background when live streaming. You're going to learn a lot of different things, and we're going to be talking about, physical sets, virtual backgrounds, using a green screen, also helping you decide whether a vinyl backdrop is really all you need for your live stream. So I'm going to come on and say a quick hello. Hey, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us for this Amazon Live and obviously this podcast episode as well. This is a really good topic. I think backgrounds, backdrops. I mean, as you can see, my background it's pretty simple. It's just a standard wall there, actually. But my guest, as I mentioned, Marco, like he also does a lot of live streaming as well, and so there are different approaches that you can take for your live stream, for your background, for your backdrop. So, Marco, I'm going to go and bring you in and let's start talking about backdrops and background ideas for your live stream. So, Marco, fantastic
Hello.
seeing you again.
Hello.
How we
so,
doing?
well, I'm doing good. The weather it's becoming sunny again here in Portugal
Nice.
and warm. So let's talk about this because I think it's an important thing when we talk about live streaming is the background, and it's not hard to make something interesting to our audience.
Exactly. That's a great point, by the way. And, I think the thing is with backgrounds and backdrops, what a lot of people do is they either just leave everything behind them or they make it too cluttered or it's not really on brand, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes we see too much, and sometimes we see too few. Even though I rather be see too few than too much, but it's kind of we should think about this also as part of the branding process, because what is behind us could help people to understand who we are, um, our tone, our ideals, and everything. So it's important to have in mind how important it is the background.
Exactly right. And there's lots of different types, right?
Yes, yes, yes. They are kind of minimalists.
Mhm.
Some are kind more business related. Some
Mhm.
are more broader. For instance, let me show people who I am,
Right.
and you can have pictures from your family. You
Mhm.
can have some sporting trophies
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
you have any. For instance, I have there my degree diploma.
Yeah.
I have there my amazing StreamYard pillow. I have
Mhm.
there a photo of mine when I made some years ago when I made a performative theater.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have there some things to place my microphones and other
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
And it's important, and I think I should talk as well about this because it's something for me it's truly important.
Yeah. What is that?
One of one of the things when we are doing live shows we don't know is who is watching our show. So pay attention to if you're showing for instance expensive things on your shows, because you don't know who is watching, and maybe there are some how can I say it, some sneaky eyes watching your live shows, and maybe having too much expensive things on the screen may put you in trouble. So my recommendation, avoid using this expensive showing these expensive
Okay.
things on the screen.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So make sure, obviously, when you're designing a background or a backdrop for your live streams, you don't want to put too much stuff out there in the open, especially if they're like expensive items. Great point. So I think the first thing we want to talk about is like there's basically what, like maybe three different types of backgrounds somebody could build, right? So I think the first one is obviously like if you have and we're going to mention this because we have products that can help you depending on your situation and the way you're going to
Mhm.
set things up. But I think the first one is, if you're somebody who is going to have like just a standard wall in your office, and you don't want to put anything on the wall, for example, or you want to keep it very minimal. Um, you can just put a wall and use that as your backdrop for your live streams. It's going to look pretty boring, actually. So, like for example, right behind my uh, backdrop right here, I have a wall, just a standard wall. It's just painted, a solid color. So not going to actually look very good. So that would be like maybe the base type of background you could use. For those of you though who happen to like you want to jazz that up a little bit, you could go with kind of what Marco's got going on here, which is he's got a physical wall behind him. He's got some
Yes, I
paint,
do.
but then he also has accented with various items. So, for example, he's added, he's got a pillow there. I think he got some shelving. Let me actually go ahead and bring your
Yes, I
view up.
do.
Yeah, you got some shelving. You got a pillow. Looks like a curtain,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah.
So these are ways that you can enhance that physical background. Now we can take things a step further, and we can move into using green screens. We can use uh, roll up backgrounds, step and repeats, any of that kind of stuff, and those are all good. It's really going to depend, I think, on the space that you have, and also I think your budget. Both like
Yeah.
super important in terms of how you can actually enhance your backdrops. So what I want to do, Marco, is I want to have us just talk about some various products that we can use to enhance our backgrounds and our backdrops and make them actually a lot more fun. Where do you want to
Absolutely.
start with this, by the way?
Well, I love that retro sign on air.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was born in the 70s,
Uh huh.
and this kind of signs reminds me about those uh, movies like La Bamba. I don't know if you saw the movie, and those
Okay.
70, 80 movies. So this and for sure in a short term of time, I will bring this kind of signs
Yeah.
to my show because I love them. It's a way to make it a little bit. I don't know if it's sophisticated, but to bring more information to your show, which it's accordingly to your what you're doing.
Hmm.
Okay, so I love this kind of signs.
Yeah, and this is a good idea. I mean, this is a physical sign. It goes on your wall. It's got some lights. You actually, I think this is actually just a standard sign, actually. So it's got some pre-drilled holes. You basically can display. So it's not actually an active sign, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. So
absolutely,
so
and
that's yeah,
it's very affordable.
yeah,
The point is, it's very affordable.
yeah,
It,
definitely, yeah. So that's a $12 sign there, by the way, and that's just it's a physical sign. You put it up in your background, for example, and it looks good. It gives your space a little, it enhances your live stream a little bit.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So, do you happen to have anything else queued up, by the way? You want to queue some stuff up for me, by the way?
I think this cinematic light box. It's also let me bring it to the screen.
Yes. So for those who want to like, if you want to add accents to your background, I think I'd start with the physical on-air recording sign. That's $12, by the way. So you're not actually not going to cost you a whole bunch of money there. $12.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good place to start. And so I like that. I mean, I like the idea of putting that up. 12 bucks. I can just put something up. It's not actually going to be something I can see. That people are really going to see a whole lot of. But so that's that one. Now, if you want to make your background though a lot more exciting, I think I personally would lean towards this next item, Marco. And these are things that kind of go on the wall, but they have a
Yeah.
certain look to them, right? So what is this one exactly?
Well, this is a light box which you can customize. This is good. This is amazing for branding, for instance, launch your live, for instance. Use the letter. They come with 105 letters, so there's space for
Okay.
you to play a little bit. Also, it has lights.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
I think it's a good option to bring more brand to your show,
Yeah.
to bring more information. For instance, today, Happy Valentine's, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Today is my birthday. It could help to bring more information to kind of a CTA or something. So this is a nice way to bring more uh, joy to your live shows and bring more informations without being noisy, I think.
Definitely. I like that one. And that one's like what? That's $20, I think, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that's a $20 sign. I know, and then I think we've got in the carousel, by the way, I think we've got some other options there. I mean, you can also go with there's the on-air sign, the LED on-air sign as well. That's like one that will light up. And for something like that, actually, I might consider putting so I like the one you have. I might even consider putting up the like on-air sign, like if I'm gonna be in an area where there's gonna be people, for example, who might be coming in, high trafficked areas. I might use something like that. So I'm going to show this one actually. This is the on-air sign. This one actually, I might actually mount this above the door because, well, the reason I put that above the door is because it's one of those things that if I don't want people to get into my space, um, I want them to know that like I'm actually on and that I'm recording and things like that. So I like that one as well. That's what like that's $30, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty fan of this kind of stuffs. And by the way, you can power this with a USB or AAA batteries.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's it's not very complicated.
No.
Okay, so yes, I love this kind of signs, and I think that soon you will see something like this.
Yes. No, no, that's a really good one. I mean, that's a very good option. I mean, so you could go with the physical one, you can go with just the light up one. For those of you, by the way, who want to also want to actually take things up another notch, I would actually recommend something like this. So I've got one pulled up here, and this is actually one where you can customize the text. Now, this one is actually a little bit more expensive. Actually, it's quite a bit more expensive. This one is $138. And it's this scrolling
Oh
LED
yes,
screen. I mean, it's pretty neat, but it
yeah,
really is, it's a much more expensive item. I mean, it's $138 as opposed to a physical sign that's what, like $20, right, Marco?
yeah, yeah. But I love this kind of signs as well.
Yeah,
Even though this remind me about bakery or something
yeah,
today promotion,
yeah.
but yes, yes, I think it allows you to bring more customization, more personality to your show,
Yeah.
and so I love this kind of things.
Definitely, yeah, and so those are some good options. Like if you just want to put something up on the wall, you've got options that are like as we mentioned, we've got ones that are physical, like it's just a sign that says on air, for example, recording, like to give it some style. You can also then move to ones that are they just light up, or you can move into, as we mentioned, we got a third option, which I actually like the third option, and that's the one where you can have the sign, you can customize the message. I personally
Yes, yes.
like that one because, well, the price is right, and then obviously you've got this indoor LED sign. It's it automatically scrolls. It's got a little bit of style to it, but it is much more expensive. And so,
Yes.
when I build my background, I don't know if I'd use that very often. I think I'd probably prefer to have the other one that I can quickly change stuff on. So that's some physical stuff you can put behind you, right, Marco?
Yeah, yeah. I think this could be, and the other good thing about this, it's some of them you can change. For instance, you can use in one show and in another you don't,
Yeah,
because they are not that big. They are portable, so you can change, put, take out. So this is something, because I like as well to change the thing. So it's a good option. Okay, so
definitely. Yeah. So those are some physical items you can put in your background to give your live stream a little more style, right? Now,
Absolutely.
what else can people do though to enhance their background or their backdrop, Marco?
Well, I love these lava lamps.
Yes, we got the lava lamp, right?
Yeah, this is kind of, I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I see many broadcasters using this.
Yeah.
Okay, and because I think one of the things we should have in mind as well is not everything should be useful in the formal way, if I made myself clear. Sometimes we, and I think one of the things about these backdrops we are showing, it's they are decorative, and so it's related to our tastes as well. Okay, and it makes sense
Yep.
to show people who we are and what we do like.
Yep.
So I love these level lamps, and they are very affordable as well.
It's like $14. Like that's crazy. I will say this. So like the great thing about like using like a lava lamp, for example, is it's like a dual purpose thing. So for starters, some of them allow you to change the colors. You could also just buy one that is geared towards your brand. And then the other side of it that I also really like is that, as I mentioned, it's dual purpose. So it gives your background, like if you have just a standard wall, just having a lava lamp sitting there on it creates a little bit of motion, a little bit of intrigue on your live streams. The other thing also though that I like about it is the fact that it also puts out some light. So it doesn't make that
Yeah,
boring wall look boring. It actually can add
absolutely.
color. You know, if you go with something that's branded based off your color, your own brand colors, works fantastic for something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I love the way changing colors and the they're saying coming go up
Yeah.
and down.
No, it's a very good product. I mean, you know, to put that, I mean, I've got a few friends as well that put these in their backgrounds. Go back to your point though, Marco. I will say it's not something that's for everyone. You know, there's some people they don't like having a lava lamp, for example. It doesn't fit with their
Yes,
brand. Like, for
absolutely,
example, if you're into like minimalism and sleekness, you know, the lava lamp may be seen as old to some people, outdated. So, you know, it's going to depend on the type of live streams that you do. You know, if it's a, for example, if I'm doing a live stream about, you know, corporate business, I don't think that I'm going to be putting a lava lamp in the background.
absolutely,
You know, so I have to kind of like look at what am I going to do to jazz my live stream up to make it feel more on brand. So
absolutely,
so that is an
absolutely.
option. Now, I know Marco though, like we talked about lighting. So like you've got a physical background, you put that behind you. That could be a wall. We got some other ways to show you how to do that. Lighting though, I think is really key to a background as well. It's a great way to make your live streams actually look to enhance them, to make them look better.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
so what do you recommend for something like this? I mean, there's tons of
Well,
options.
I recommend this, and I'm dating this as well.
Yeah.
So this Go Go V
Yeah. Okay.
smart LED light bars,
Yeah.
because I've seen so lots of broadcasters using these LED lights to bring more. One of the things these shows is kind of mysterious, because there are shadows and different light tones and everything,
Uh-huh.
and this is interesting for me. So that's why I think. And again, the good thing about these LED lights, it's they are very economic. Okay, they last long, and the other thing, it's very easy to put different colors and tones. Okay, because we had those old lights, and now with this led we can change tones, change colors, and this brings a lot of differentiation to your shows. And that's why I like this, and this particular this I think I already, yes, I have there. If you want to share the screen
Oh
to
yeah, sure.
show
Yeah.
this amazing, and they look so cute.
Yeah. So these are the lights we're talking about. Yeah, these are the Govee smart LED light bars.
Yeah, it's amazing to, for instance, to light the whole environment or just the walls.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's amazing. I've seen some people using them, and you can use
Mhm.
as well in the living room.
Yeah.
So,
No, you totally can. Yeah. And they're also controllable by a smartphone, by the way. So
yes,
you can change the color from your smartphone. You can adjust the brightness, all the settings you need to change, all directly from the product, which is pretty cool, actually. The other thing also I'd recommend for something like this is you want to make sure I like using the pair of them, but you have to look at it like this. If you have, for example, there was the picture where it's like a TV in the middle, you can light both sides. However, if you're in a room, for example, what you could also do is you could put these on the floor and you can angle them. And so you're creating light one way, and then hopefully there's going to be some intersection of that light to create, this certain style that kind of runs up the wall. So I don't know. I like these. I really do. I mean, at
yeah, absolutely.
$73 for that, they're really good. And they do recommend like certain sizes based on, what they're going to be going in behind. So very, very, very cool product. Yeah. So lighting is obviously really key for background or backdrop. So you can use these color changing lights, for example, to be more on brand, to give your live streams a little more fun than just the standard physical wall behind you, like Marco's got, or the backdrop like I've got. So
Absolutely.
I really like that. Actually, I really like that one a lot. And we dropped a couple of things in the comments as well for those. Um, so what I want to do, Marco, is I want to move over to like backdrops, right?
Okay, perfect.
And there's lots of options for backdrops, lots of options. Um, you can go with, for example, I've got, this was just a printed vinyl backdrop. You could go with like there's kits that are sold. There's custom ones as well. So if you have a photo you want to print, you could print a photo and make a backdrop out of that as well. I want to start with the custom option, and that's and I think the key thing here is like this is one where you basically have a custom backdrop. It's a vinyl backdrop,
Hmm.
and there's different sizes, so they go up to like 8x6, 8x8, 10x8, 10x10. So the key thing to think about with your backgrounds or your backdrops is to make sure you get something that's wide enough. And here's the thing: the great thing about these is you can take them up, you can take them down. They're pretty portable, um, but you want to make sure you get the ones that are the right size. Isn't that right, Marco?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's important. You should have in mind the space you have in between, for instance, the camera and the backdrop,
Yeah,
the space of the room, of course, because otherwise you may buy something which is too big or too small. You should avoid that because otherwise it will show the wall or it will show something that you don't want. Okay,
exactly.
so have in mind what, and the other thing you should think is how will you use it? Because, for instance, you can want. I'm gonna talk. For instance, I have there a green screen,
Yeah.
and sometimes I use it as a background.
Uh huh.
Sometimes I use it to record a video, and
Hmm.
so I need it in different sizes. But I have just one size which
Yeah.
fits all. This is something that you should have in mind as well.
Definitely, yeah, and there's lots of options for your backgrounds or backdrops. In this case, this is the like custom option, and I always try to recommend getting a little more space than you need. So,
Yeah,
because the thing is, you don't want to be, you want to be trying to fit yourself within that to make it fit within the camera. If you have a little bit of bleed on the edges, this will actually help you significantly if you need a little more space for something like this.
absolutely.
Okay, so that's one type of backdrop. What other ones would you recommend, Marco, like to consider?
Well, I love this. Like you have the brick wall. Let me let me share.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a brick. So I have a brick wall up. This is just a standard white brick wall. There's also, is this the red one, Marco?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, we do have a red brick wall option as well. So what's this one about? I mean, is this the same kind of thing?
yes, yes. It's a brick wall, and but it's the red bricks.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know why. Don't ask me why I like this kind of backgrounds. I love those wooden walls as well.
Right. I like
Like
the wooden ones. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why. To be honest, I don't know why, but I like them. For instance, I used sometimes I use the green screen, And
Yeah.
one of the patterns I put there, it's or bricks or wooden
Hmm.
backgrounds. Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah.
it's not sophisticated. It's very simple,
Hmm.
but it works. It looks good. I don't know. I don't know why.
So I think you've actually make a really good point. So if you're going to use, so here's, I guess, the things you have to consider. If you're going to use a vinyl backdrop, there are lots of options to consider. There are, in this case, this is a red brick wall. I've got a white brick behind me. There's also a white brick option. You know, these work really well. And then you can obviously go with a custom one, meaning you print your own and you then have that up behind you for pretty much forever. And so the thing I really like about this option, by the way, if you want to enhance your background, is the cost.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
for something like this, for like the one you have there, for example, how much is that one, Marco?
Let me see. $14.
$14. So here's the thing I like about this. I like the idea of having a few of these. So, for example, I could get a red brick, I could do a white brick, I could do what's called a step and repeat that goes behind me with my logo or something on it. I could print an actual background. The thing I like most about these is the fact that it gives me options. So
Absolutely.
they're pretty easy to store. Most of them can roll out of the way, or some of them actually collapse into the actual background. In this case, it looks like you actually have to iron this one, maybe. So, you may not want to take it up and down, but I like the idea of using a backdrop like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
and again, as I mentioned, cost is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm gonna give an example. It's not related to backdrops. It's
Yeah, sure.
related to a pair of shoes.
Okay.
One day I was in a shoe store
Okay.
and I was looking to two pairs of shoes.
Okay.
They both of them were in a good discount because I have a big foot.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
and I was looking to both, and I was thinking, oh my god, which one should I pick?
Yep.
And then I came up with this idea. Well, buying the two pairs, I won't spend the same money that I would spend if I have to pay one regular price of one pair of shoes. So I brought both pairs,
Yeah. No.
and
Yeah.
it's the same thing with this kind of backdrops because some are so expensive, or to build a background, it's kind of expensive. So you can buy two or three different backdrops, okay, and then you can be changing, so you can bring some diversity to your shows.
I love the idea of, as you mentioned, and I said that earlier, like cost. Cost is key for your backdrop. It doesn't need to be expensive, but it needs to be something you like or
Absolutely,
something that
yes.
fits with your brand. For example, Marco, I love the idea of the red brick wall. For example, I've got the white brick wall here. I've also seen some that might be like ivy, for example. The other ones I've seen like what's it called? Chipboard, I think. Is that the right word? It's wood, for example, that goes in the background, and that looks good, but it may not fit with my brand. And that's the great thing about these. You can get pretty much anything printed on that vinyl backdrop. So that's a good, like, solid backdrop for somebody who's sitting, for example. Now, another thing though that I think is really important to also talk about when you're looking at some of these backdrops, there are other options such as this one here. And this one's a unique piece because it's actually two pieces. And it's a backdrop and a floor. And that's important because, if, for example, if you're doing a live stream and you're just sitting in a chair, you just need the backdrop. But like if you pull the camera out, you dolly the camera out, you can catch the floor and see what it's going to look like. And, I'm
Okay.
not saying like you need this flooring, for example, but this creates a scene if you think about it. Like, for example, you could pair this floor with the red brick wall, for example, if you wanted to. So you've got some options there to kind of go with different combinations in terms of what you want your backdrop to look like. And then I want to show you guys one other option by this. So this other one this was the was it this is the vinyl rustic white brick wall with a floor. But what I also want to do is I want to have Marco like here's one of the wood. Like this looks nice, but that may not fit with my brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I want to make sure we show Marco as well, like the other option that people can go with, and this is actually a more expensive option, is there's a paper option. And
So
there's paper, and this is, and I mentioned it's more expensive. So for example, it's between $15 and $20 for a backdrop. The other thing you can also go with, if you want just a very simple, clean look to your live streams, is to literally just use photography background paper. And I mean, this is like a no brainer, right, Marco?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a little more expensive. It's going to be something that like you're going to use quite a bit. By the way, do me a favor. Let's hover over those colors. So you can get 50 different colors. You have 50 options of paper color, and you just get a whole roll. And then like what you basically do with this once you get that roll is you basically then can you can put it, like, you basically can put it up on your ceiling, for example, and just run your paper straight down. And then now you have a very cool background, but it's not something that is permanent either. So,
Absolutely.
what do you think about this one, Marco? I mean, it's nice. It's a little expensive, but
Yeah, yeah, but it's you can reuse it as well, okay? And you can use it in so many different ways, which is also good because you can it's the it's a role, right?
it is, yes.
So you can use it different in different ways. It's more versatile, so I think it's also important to have this in mind.
Yeah,
If in how many ways can I use this? Because it's something that I usually ask. Because for instance, if we want to use some to brand somehow the content we made, recording videos, live stream videos. For instance, if you go outside and if you want to put uh, a little piece or a big piece of our branded background, I
yeah,
think this could be a good option. Because for instance, if you buy a backdrop, it's just that size, you can't put it bigger. But with this option you can make that. So this could be also a nice way to understand how to use it.
yeah. And here's the thing: I really like the idea of using a paper roll. And so here's the thing: it's expensive. It's $35. Which is much more expensive. Like for that price, you could get between 2 and 3 vinyl backdrops. However, the trade-off here is that you set the paper up, so you hang it from your ceiling, for example, or you could even just cut a piece and then you just build it based off of you being in frame. So, for example, if I just wanted it right here behind me, I could just I could make sure my paper is large enough, get my camera positioned enough, and now I have this, like, the focus is on me when I'm live streaming, and the background is just adding some nice color. And you can add complementary colors here too. You could use your brand. So, for example, if you've got a major color for your brand, you could include that as the background. You could also, though, like, add something that is an accent color. So, I like these ideas of using paper. I think that paper is, it's an affordable option. And the fact is, if I want to, like, take it somewhere, I don't have to like pack up all this other stuff. I literally just grab the whole roll. I
Yeah,
measure out how much I want. I cut it. I stick it up on the wall with some tape. Make sure it's nice and tight, by the way, so it looks good. And then I just add some light, and then I now have a very nice background.
absolutely, absolutely.
So that's some of the like basic ways that you can enhance your background. So we talked about having some physical items, and we talked about having like a vinyl backdrop, or in this case, like some paper. However, if people want to take, and we hear a lot about this, right, Marco, about making your backdrops like look custom and really cool, right?
Absolutely,
So what are
absolutely.
some ways that we can do that?
Well, I love this green screen.
Yeah, this is actually really cool. By the way, I don't know. Do you want to show this one first, or do you want to show like the more complicated one?
Well,
Up to you.
let's show this one.
Okay. So for those of you who want to do live streaming and you want to have the background replaced behind you. So one of the biggest drawbacks a lot of times is, people will say, hey, you can paint the wall and you can have this nice permanent green wall. You can
Absolutely.
also put up a piece of fabric, and it works. It does work well. It gets the job done. But when you start looking at like a lot of the green screen fabric, it's really large, and then it becomes unmanageable. And then you're like, well, I don't want to have to put that up every time. So then you might as well actually just get something like this. This is a really cool item. It literally goes right on the back of your chair, attaches right over your chair. So it's right close to you. You don't have to deal with all the distance that you have usually with green screens. And it's portable and it folds up into a bag. And now you can be sitting in your chair doing your live stream and you can actually replace the background. Pretty cool, right, Marco?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the good thing, it's portable, and you can at you finish the show, you fold the back, the background, you put it in the bag, and you can put it's a small black bag, okay, and it's very thin. You can put it in a side, so it's very interesting. You don't have to, because for instance, I have a normal green screen, and it it uses lots of spaces to to store it. But
Mhm.
with this one, you don't need that at all.
No, this one is like super cool because it literally just attaches to your chair and it's cheap. It's $25. So you could get a couple of these, for example. And I say it's cheap because when you start to look at other green screen options, they can be 4 to 6 times the price. So
Absolutely.
so this is the green screen background. It goes on your chair, and then you can use your live streaming software to basically do what's called keying out the background. So as long as you've got a green background, and you're not wearing green, by the way, as long as you have the green background behind you, you've got enough light. You can then
Yeah.
turn on the green screen feature in your live streaming software, and you can have any background you want. So the trade-offs here are that if you go with the ones we mentioned, for example, the vinyl backdrop, they're super cheap. You just throw it up, you leave it there. Your backdrop always looks the same though. Or you can go with a green screen option and customize that with any kind of image you really want for your live streams. I like this chair option, by the way, for $25. I mean, I'm sold on this one, like
Yeah.
100% sold on that because I really just like how easy it is. I don't have to like unpack it. It's not this like massive like piece of
Yeah,
fabric that I have
absolutely.
to iron, that I have to try to smooth out.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
like that one.
Absolutely.
For those
Absolutely.
of you though who don't want that option, though, are there other options, Marco, for green screens?
Well, let me bring this because I think this is also a good option, even though it's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, and like we said, like there are different options for backgrounds. Like you don't have to go with just a physical background all the time. Like you can actually go and you can customize that. So what's this one we got, Marco? What's another type of background you can use for live
This is
streams?
kind of a roll up.
Okay.
This is a roll up. So it's, again, you just have to pull, and then you have the backdrop. Okay, the green screen.
Yeah, this is a roll up. Yeah, it basically rolls up into this. If you remember those like projectors, like if you go into if you go into like a classroom, they'd have the projector on the
Yeah.
wall, or they'd have the screen on the wall, and you just pull it down. It's a very similar concept, except it goes the other way. So you put it on the ground, you raise it up. There's a couple of bars that come up, and now you have a green screen, a portable green screen. So it's not like one that's always attached to your chair. It's not like one of the big pieces of fabric that you have to like stretch and get smooth. You literally just pop it up and then it should be smooth. So
Yeah,
this is a good
absolutely.
option. How much is this one, Marco?
Uh, Let me see. Well, it's unavailable right now.
There's a actually, this one it's $160 actually. It's an Elgato. Um, there's an Elgato model and it's $160. And as you can see, like this is an expensive option. It's a
Yeah.
really good product. It's just a really expensive option for $160 because I think for that price, like the great thing about this is the quality. I will say, like Elgato makes really good quality products, but it's
Absolutely.
$160. I
Yeah.
think Marco, we could buy how many backgrounds could we buy essentially? So we could buy that one green screen for 150, $160, or we could buy
10.
let's see. We could buy the one for your chair for $25. We could tack on two of the vinyl backdrops. Like that's $30 there. That's what, $55. We could tack on some of the other green screen options as well. They're in the carousel. So you got a lot of options there. And we'd still actually have some money left over. So you really have to kind of look at how often you would actually use the green screen. I know for me personally, Marco, I don't use green screens very often. Do you?
I used, but then I left.
And why was
Because,
that? Why did you leave?
well, I didn't got the quality I wanted, so it
Okay.
was kind of, it was a little bit blurry,
Yeah.
and also the counter, it was not very good, and then I left because if it's creating some noise, it's better to leave it there.
Excellent point. Yeah. And I would say this. I mean, if you are going to use a green screen, by the way, Marco, let's do me a favor. Let's bring up that. Let's bring up that one that has the virtual set option.
Oh, let me see.
And this is like cool thing. So like the cheap way, I say cheap, the least expensive way to make a green screen would be to use something such as that vinyl backdrop that goes up once and it's always there. However, if you're going to be like, if you find, you know what, I need different looks of things, like I can print something, but I'm always going to have the same thing. There are options that allow you to make your live streams much to enhance them much more. Like for example, this one that we have here. This is the Global News Virtual Studio Set. And so, what's this doing, Marco?
Well, it allows you to set different ways of setting, so you can customize your live shows. This is good because sometimes if you want to make a kind of news show or something with these virtual backgrounds, you can do that in
Yeah,
a very easy and affordable way as well.
yeah. And so, with something like this, you're going to actually need a green screen behind you, for example, to replace the background. And this is actually then this can go into the background that you have. So, like if you're using the one with your chair, it's on your chair, and then anything that's green could be replaced using this virtual set option. So, what it does is it looks at the green background and it chroma keys it out. It removes the background and replaces it with pretty much whatever you want. So, very good option, potentially good option here. I like the customization of this. But again, I mean, it's going to come down to, I think, how complicated you want to make your live streams. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is really important because one of the things I have in mind is if the process takes me longer than the execution
Yeah.
itself, I'll think two times before it.
No, excellent points, actually. Yeah. And so those are lots of options that you can use for a green screen. Is there anything else you could think of, Marco? Like what else do I need to do to think of when I'm doing a backdrop or a background for my live streams?
I will think about the structure, and we have here something. Let me see. Okay, there you go. This is a very, it's a T-shaped structure. It's a little different than the normal rectangular.
Yeah. So what
Okay,
does the T-shaped structure do?
it holds the backdrop.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah. So
So
basically what you can do, this is the stand. So basically what you can do is you can get this device, you're going to have to buy a backdrop to go with it. So it's $40 for this stand. And then you could attach a green screen, like a curtain to it. If you go, let's go down to the like fifth image there, Marco. Yeah, that one right there. Let's go up one more.
oops.
So yeah, so here's an option. So like you can get one of those pop-up green screens. You can put it behind you. It doesn't have to be green. It could be white. It could be black, blue, doesn't matter. And you can put it on this stand and then you literally just put it right behind you. And then you key out in your software what is there in the background. So
Absolutely.
that's a super portable one. I mean, because the good thing about that is the device there that goes behind you, the backdrop, it actually can collapse, and
Yeah,
both sides actually should have two different colors as well. But
yeah, yeah,
again, cost wise, this is expensive. It's $40.
yeah.
So
And for instance, I have the rectangular one, and
Yep.
it's very to carry to here in this room. It's not easy. With this, it's way easier to move it around than it is with the usual. Even though it has the problem, it's just 59 inches wide.
Yeah.
We sometimes could be a little bit narrow.
Yep. No, that is a really good point you got to actually keep in mind is like how large is the space you're working with, but also how large is the background, the backdrop you're using. And for example, if you get something that's too small, like I'll give you an example. The one behind me is, let me see if I can measure. It's about 6 feet. And so the downside to that is if I, for example, were to push this closer to the wall, it actually would show my wall behind me. So it's not actually going to fill the space. So you do have to consider that when you are selecting a background or a backdrop. And the other thing, though, is like, well, okay, so it's 6 feet wide. Do I actually want something that's like 10 feet wide? For example, if my
Yeah.
room's only 10 feet wide, this is going to take up the entire back wall. So you got to
Absolutely.
weigh the pros and the cons of what type of background or backdrop is going to work best for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing also to consider, by the way, when you go the route of backdrops and backgrounds, you got to make sure you light these. And we talked about these earlier, like we had a couple of lights there, but there's lots of really creative ways that you can light your backgrounds. For example, if you happen to have a ring light, like I'm using a ring light right now, that's lighting my background. For example, in your case, Marco, what are you using right now?
I'm using two soft boxes.
Okay, you got soft boxes, yeah. And so, do
Yeah.
me a favor. Let's bring up a couple of lighting options real quick. Just I want to
Okay.
show people like what you should consider. And by the way, when you buying lights, you typically want to buy a pair of lights. So if you happen to buy, for example, like these, these are two lights. You could angle them. For example, they've got stands, but as you can see, I mean, it's stuff that takes up space, right?
Yeah.
So, but the great thing about something like this is an interesting option because, well, it's bicolor and they're dimmable, meaning you can get yellow light or white light, and so
Yeah.
they change the mood of your live stream. So
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
100% something you want to consider. Except this one's $180, right, Marco?
Yeah. 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 But I think one of the good things about this sometimes expensive items is that they are built to last. Okay, and you don't. It doesn't go outdated. And I think it's something you should have in mind.
Yeah.
There are some things that could be a cost and some which may be an investment. And I think lightning should be more an investment because you don't need to buy uh, each week a new lightning system. They don't show in the in the screen, so it doesn't matter if you are using the same lights for 5 years.
Right.
So I think it's and they are good. For instance,
Yeah.
you have the remote, so you can manage the
Mhm.
lights, which is good because, for instance, sometimes you start the live show and you don't like the lightnings and you want to adjust something.
Yeah.
If you have to stand and go there and change it, it's not good. With this, you can do it with a remote. I think it's, even though it could seems a little bit expensive, I think it
Mhm.
deserves the cost.
Definitely, yeah, no. I really like that option. I mean, and by the way, I do want to throw out one other option. So for those of you who, well, actually two other options. So for those of you who, you need lights, there are different types of lights for your setup. So for example, you may have the ring light and, that works very well. It's not very portable, obviously. It's not always practical as well, but it does put out a lot of light. The other benefit, though, if you go with some of these other options that are there, I mean, they do give you, for example, like a ring light. You're not going to have a pair of ring lights. You're going to have one ring light that's lighting just your face. But if, for example, you need to light, the front and like the sides, for example, you want to make sure you have two lights because then you can cross the light and then that way you can get enough light when you are, for example, shooting a live stream. Maybe you're using it for photography. And I do want to highlight something, Marco, that I think is like really, really, really key that you just mentioned. And it's the fact that this is an investment. Like I'm not buying
Absolutely.
lighting to use once. I'm buying
Yeah, absolutely.
lighting that I'm going to use for quite a while.
Absolutely.
So like I kind of look at it like this, like, you know what? You're in your house and you have overhead lightings like in your house, or you have lamps. Like you put those in and you're not replacing a lamp or an overhead light. You make the decision, conscious decision to put in the right kind of light to begin with. So in this case, it's the same thing. If you're going to be using, like, let's say you're a photographer, you may want to have, a softbox, for example, or in this case, a pair of these LED lights. Like you may want to have that. And that's going to be not just used for your live streams, but it's also going to be used, for example, for photography or online courses you're creating or webinars or any of that kind of stuff. So it's not like I'm buying a set of lights and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to replace this next week.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I like these. I really like these a lot. And I want to talk about the budget option, Marco. So what's the budget option that somebody should consider for lighting?
Well, you can buy these lights, these lamps. Let me let me share with you.
And this is actually a really cool option, by the way. There, while Marco is bringing this up, I actually have this option. This is the budget option. Then I have a free option as well that we're going to talk about here in a second. So for those of you, for example, you want to add some light to your live streams. You want to lighten up that background. You want to create a different mood. Check out something like this. If you have a lamp, you could simply just put these in a lamp. These are Alexa smart light bulbs. So this is budget friendly lighting.
and
So
and
yeah,
there's this thing that how these amazing times we are living now,
yeah,
because a few years ago we couldn't control anything. We have just a small range of different lights, and if we want to change, we need to change the lights literally. And with this led, we can change the lights, we can change the tone, and using a cell phone.
yeah.
So it's so simple and so easy to do this, which is amazing.
Definitely, yeah. And so this is the like budget option. This is $25 for a set. So you got the Amazon smart light bulbs. There's no hub required. It's a 60-watt equivalent. It can be controlled by your smartphone, so you can quickly change the colors. Because there used to be like, hey, if I wanted blue light, I put a blue bulb in. If I wanted, red light or green light, for example, I'd switch the bulb to that. Now I can actually create that balance. So if I've got like two colors for my brand, maybe I want to use one of these bulbs in one color, one on the other to create that, that gradient pattern, for example. The other thing also, by the way, this does come in a 3-pack and there is a coupon. It says you can save an extra 20% when you apply the coupon. So I like this option. This is the budget option, by the way. So you literally put this in the right kind of lamp, right, that you have. So you put it in your lamp and then you can either, here's how you can diffuse the light. So you can put a lampshade over it. But you got to remember, if you've got a lampshade and the lampshade is like yellow, it's going to actually change potentially the color of your light. So what you could do is you could get these. The other option you could do is you could just take the lampshade off, and now you have a way to create. You can use that solid wall behind you and add some light to really enhance it.
Absolutely.
So Marco, let's talk about that free option. I want to talk about that free option. And what do you think that free option is to
Well,
create a really to light your scene, to light that wall behind you?
I don't know.
So for those of you who want to actually make you want to enhance your live streams and you want to make them look better, you could also use natural light. So for example, if your office or you're able to face a window, face the window, find out when the light comes in, and you can harness that light. So make sure, you open your blinds, for example, open the window completely. Now, another really cool option though, is if you want to actually make your live streams look good and you're using the window, for example, the free option. If you got blinds, you can also just angle your blinds. And so when that light comes in, it's going through the different, the slits in the blinds. And so
Mhm.
therefore you can actually create, that could reflect off your wall. And now it gives your wall a pattern potentially
Mhm.
for your live stream while lighting you. I always recommend, by the way, if you're going to do that, you do want to make sure you supplement probably with a little extra lighting, maybe an extra lamp. But that is a very good free option, obviously, natural light. And by the way, if you are going to use natural light, one background idea you do not want to use, don't put the window behind you and then have the camera looking at you, because
Yeah.
it's going to totally blow out you and your background and everything. It's just going to be, a window. So, yeah.
And by the way, other thing you should you should have in mind: if you're using a green screen, never ever 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 use green dresses or
Yeah.
or shirts, because it will seem crazy.
No, that is an excellent point. Yeah. So if you're gonna do a background, for example, yeah, make sure you're not wearing any of those colors. That would not be good. Because it would matter. Like, for example, like my sweatshirt right now, I
Yes.
just can't see, it's like a green color. It's green, it's like teal. And this would
Yeah.
actually get masked out if I were to turn on the green screen feature in my live stream software.
I
Okay.
had that experience once. I was about to, and I had a shirt within, and then I had a jacket. I opened the jacket, and then the green shirt came up, and I had the virtual screen on my
Yeah.
chest.
No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. And like, so another thing you can do for your backgrounds or your backdrops, by the way, Marco, let's go and bring this up. Let's bring up the Newman 5-tier bookshelf.
I love
So,
this. I have to say, I love this.
so one thing you got to think about, like when you're building a background or a backdrop for your live streams, you can go the route of putting up paper. Like that's just a standard, very simple thing. You can print out or get a vinyl backdrop made. You can just use lighting. However, what I think a lot of people are starting to do is they're starting to lean towards a physical set. And so for something like this, I mean, you've got a lot of options. This is the TomCare Cube Storage. And this may not look like much, but you have to think you're building a set. So I'm going to use the movies as an example. So if you go watch a movie, sometimes like they're not using a printed background, for example, they may be using a prop that looks like something. So for example, it could be, it might be something that's got some wheels on it, for example, that when they're in the shot, they're not visible, but it looks like a physical background. And so this is where, like, for example, in Marco's case, like he could actually do this. He could put this, this set of office furniture behind him. And what's cool about this is that it's actually not, it actually is a very smart thing to do, because you're not just using it as your background. It's also giving you physical storage as well.
Absolutely.
And there's tons of options here. I mean, this is one option. How much are these, Marco?
2540.
So you basically can build a physical set for your live streams, and this is about $25.
Yes.
And so this is one option you can consider. I dropped a couple other ones as well in the carousel, but another one I really like also is to go with like a bookshelf. And so like I look at it like this. I use those as my anchor pieces. If I wanted to like put one of these in, I could put one on my left, one on my right, so they're flanking me. And then within those, I can accent them with lights. I can also add various objects around me, i.e., that on-air sign, if I want to basically have this set that it's a real thing that people can see, and it creates that depth basically,
Absolutely.
and that change in pattern when you're live streaming.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so there is the Newman option. This is the Newman 5-tier option. If these are something that you're not going to move, so you build it once and then you're going to keep it for a while, I think. So, Marco, how do we go about enhancing these types of things? So, like, if I buy a physical bookshelf, how can I make these like look more lively and just the standard bookshelf? Any tips?
Well, for instance, you can use the things we showed before, these signs, these a lava lamp, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah. You could put your lava lamp up. Do me a
Yeah.
favor, like, yeah. There's also like I think I've got I've got like a felt board in the
Yes,
carousel as
yes, yes,
well.
yes, you do. Let me bring it to the screen.
You can enhance your physical set with accent pieces. And
There you
for example, there's this option. This is um, the felt board. It's a 10 by 10 board, so it's not something that like I would tack to the wall. I might put it on one of the shelves. I might write a nice message to my viewers, and then this way, it's always in my background. For example, it could be the name of your business, or it could be the name of your live stream that you're doing, or a hashtag.
Absolutely.
And this is $24. So that's a very simple option. However, the other couple of options here also I like. For example, there's like if, for those of you into like if you happen to have a hashtag, there's a LED hashtag sign as well you can check out. And this is what this is $10, right, Marco?
Yes, yes.
So you can accent your physical background,
There you go.
and it's for $10. So you get something like this. This is a hashtag sign. So for example, it would go behind you. It might go like sit on the shelf. For example, there's different examples as well. You can get certain like you can buy certain letters. So you can actually spell out certain words. Like so these actually they're actually pretty big, I think, right, Marco?
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I have.
Yeah, there's like there's an and sign. Let me see if there's an at sign. So I like this. I really do. I mean, because these add a little bit of dimension. They also add a little bit of light, by the way, to your live streams. So you have a fun background versus just a standard color behind you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's an option as well. So if you want to like enhance your background, check out like a letterboard. There's also, by the way, a pillow as well that we like. So for example, if you're into social media, as you can see from Marco, he has a pillow in his background.
Yeah,
He's
but
got a
this is
branded pillow.
it's
So this is yeah.
an amazing one.
Yeah, so it's powered by StreamYard. Yeah, so
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is powered by StreamYard, and so there's the pillow in the background. You can also go with your social media logos as well. So if you're big on YouTube, for example, or Facebook, or you want to get a whole collection, you can get a pillow and put that behind you. So, and again, it's an accent piece. So you're building versus just having the same standard background all the time behind you. So, and here's the thing, I guess. I mean, I think the thing to remember, by the way, you can, enhance your background with throw pillows. And this is like, as I mentioned, this is nice, but sometimes people just want something simple, right? So for the price of that pillow, I could put up just a printed background behind me.
Absolutely.
So these are some really good options, by the way, to customize your background. And then I actually want to go to one other really cool product, Marco. And for those of you who like you've gone through all of the like, okay, so and we'll recap these here in a second, but if your budget allows it, another way you can make a really cool background and add a very fun and neat looking make your live stream look really neat is to put up a projector actually. And this is, I think, I can't remember. Did we talk about this one yet, Marco? I know not today, but maybe we talked about this on our live streams before.
Yes, I think it was last week.
So what do we have here?
We have this projector, 180p, which is good, and it does a lot of things, and it's portable, which is good.
Yeah, this is a really good option. And granted, though, this is a much more expensive option because it's a $600 projector. It's by Anker actually, so it's a really good projector. But you are going to also need a screen as well to go with this. And so here's how this could work. So the way that I'm currently doing things is I have a physical background behind me. Marco has a physical background. I've got a vinyl background. So you'll need a projector and a screen. And so then you're also going to need to connect to the computer, but you basically feed a video source from your computer into the projector, and then it's going to project it behind you. So as you mentioned, this is portable, but it is a much more costly option, right?
Yeah, yeah, but we should have in mind every types of pockets, so that's why we brought this a little bit more expensive option. So
And it's $26. So that's one screen option. There's more expensive ones. You can even just paint the wall with paint as well to be able to create that screen for your projector. But this is like the top way to make a really cool background for your live streams. And I think the other thing I like about this is it's something that can be repurposed. So I'm not just buying a projector, I'm buying a projector that it's portable. So for starters, I can just attach a video source to this and play. Like if I got multiple brands, I can have a background going on, that creates that pattern interrupt during my live stream. However, I can also go the route of using it for movie night, for example. Maybe I want to be on a conference call. I just flip it around and I'm facing the screen and I can watch it. So I really like that projector option. What do you
yeah,
think,
absolutely.
Marco? What's your favorite?
Well, I think this one it's a good option. For instance, last year I had to buy a projector because I was doing trainings outside for a
Yeah,
small group. So I bought this kind of small projector. It's well, it made me think maybe one day I will use mine to make these backgrounds as well.
exactly right. So these are really good options. I mean, the projector is, as we mentioned, it's the like top tier option to consider when you are uh, creating a background or a backdrop for your live streams. So, what I want to do real quick, Marco, and then we're going to just end things here, is I want to make sure that we kind of recap the different options that are available for people. So, the first option, obviously, is you can just take your standard wall behind you. You can just paint it, maybe, or maybe you put up some. There's like I think there's carpet you can put on the wall. You can or wallpaper. You can put that up. That's going to create some pattern behind you. Now, the downside to something like that is it's cheap. However, it's not something that like you're going to really want to love whatever you put it behind you, right? So you can go with a wall, you got to paint it, and then you can add some accent pieces, and it's going to be the same standard wall that's always going to be there. Now, for those of you who just want to get started, you want something that looks good, it's clean, you can go with a vinyl backdrop like what we've got here. For example, that's what I've got. And I'm going to actually put this full screen for those of you who are watching live. As you can see, this is a vinyl backdrop. Now, a couple of things I want to note. As you can see, I get closer to it, you get some shadow. And then if I tap on that, you can see that, hey, it's not an actual physical wall. So you have to keep that in mind. But it is probably the least expensive option to create something that's unique. You could buy, two different
Yeah.
backgrounds or backdrops, and they're $15, maybe even $10 in some cases, and so you got some options. But for those of you who want to take things up a notch, you can go the route of a green screen. And we talked about getting that chair, for example, that's behind you that has the green screen. Sorry, it's a chair. It's an attachment for a chair. It literally just attaches to your chair. It's a green screen, and then it's right on your back. And then you just key out yourself with your software. That is a fantastic, inexpensive, portable option to create various backgrounds behind you. For those of you though who are not going to be mobile, we recommended checking out a physical background. For example, I'm going to bring Marco up here real quick as well one more time. Marco's got, it looks like a curtain, I think, on one side. There looks like there's a
Yeah.
bench. Looks like maybe on the other side there's a storage container. So those are
Yes.
options to consider for your background. In Marco's case, like that works really well for what he's doing.
I think. But
And,
soon I will have more things.
yeah, well, right. And the key thing is, yeah, it's like making sure you put the right things behind you. So in your case, you've got, a physical set behind you. It's something that's going to always be there. And in your case, like you could just change out some of the objects. Like you could put in a couple
Yeah.
more social media pillows if you want to, or if you have a hashtag for your live stream, you can put that on the wall or in the background so that people are always able to see it. So, That's if you decide you want to go with the physical route. I love the idea of a physical route. I also always recommend when people are live streaming, I always recommend they try to be in a physical like set that they're not actually having to take down and move around. So if you have the space, set up a physical set. However, if you don't, consider maybe the option of the vinyl backdrop you can take up and down. Consider the option of the green screen that attaches to your chair, or consider the green screen that pops up and goes down. The benefit there is that those are going to give you flexibility for your background and your backdrop. And you can
Absolutely.
use them for multiple brands. And then lastly, we talked about, which I consider the much more expensive option, is to use a projector with a screen. You basically put the projector in front of you, and then you can put the screen behind you. And then that way you can project whatever, again, you can project whatever you want, but it is an expensive option. And the other thing we talked about, for those of you who want to enhance your background, your backdrop, consider adding some sort of lighting. And there's lots of options. You can go with the free option, which is just natural lighting. However, you can also just get some color changing bulbs. You can get some of those LED sticks that Marco mentioned as well. Those are fantastic because they do allow you to make your streams look a little more unique. Is there anything else I left out, Marco?
Well, I think, well, maybe the shelves.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, you can get a physical shelf as well, and put that behind you. But one thing to keep in mind when you do go those routes, you are building a set, but it's not something you're going to be tearing down likely. So almost like make it part of your office so that it's
Yeah,
functional versus just being, a whole bunch of like, something that like you really don't like or something that's bare. You want to make sure you accent it with things such as signs, light up signs, and things like that. But
absolutely.
I want to thank everyone, by the way, who has tuned in for was essentially episode 64. It's the Launch Your Live podcast and Amazon Live show. On this episode, we discussed background and backdrop ideas for live streaming. Lots of different options there. Just a quick heads up, by the way, if you want to check out the products we talked about during this episode, just go to launcher.live/EP64. That'll bring you right back to the Amazon wish list here. Actually, sorry, that's yeah, that's actually episode 64. Yeah. So launch.live/EP64. We will see you all on a future episode. And I think that's going to be next week, right, Marco?
Yes.
Yeah. So be sure you join us again. We're going to have another episode next Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But thanks a lot for tuning in. We will see you all on the
All
next
right.
episode.
All
Bye.
right.